Hello everyone, Brad Johnson here, and welcome to the Reality Whisperer Webcast. I'm so happy to be with everybody here tonight. This is a very kind of special occasion as we are broadcasting through YouTube live stream. So we are pretty much done with Google Plus Hangouts. I may still utilize the Google Plus Hangouts if we have multiple interviews that are coming up, because that is a good platform for that. But as far as the solo form here, this is where I'm going to be utilizing YouTube live stream. So again, I'm very excited to be here with everybody here tonight, just listening to this live. And of course, if you're tuning this into this with recording, thank you so much for being here. We have a really exciting show tonight, and I just want to again let everybody know about realitywhisperer.com. There's live sessions, private sessions with Adronis. There are the light circuitry sessions, which are becoming quite popular now. A lot of people are seeing a lot of incredible differences happening when they start going into utilizing this light circuitry as well too. I use it for a lot of personal uses as well too, for transformational purposes, for healing purposes, enhancement. It's a wonderful thing. So that is something that is also available through the sessions, through the healing, available on realitywhisperer.com, not to mention a lot of great videos, free meditations, and a lot more. So that is my website, realitywhisperer.com. And of course, we're just going to give a thanks to our affiliates. First one is portaltoascension.org, live online conscious events. I will be doing some events with Portal to Ascension here in the next little while, so you can always keep track with that on realitywhisperer.com, as I'll be doing some really exciting events, including a Dream Mastery program that will be through Portal to Ascension, and I'm also working with some other ideas right now too. But the Dream Mastery is going to be coming up, and I'm also going to be participating in their very large online conferences here as we move into the summer. So again, feel free to check that out, portaltoascension.org. And our final supporter here is the Pot of Gold YouTube channel. So basically, to look up this channel, just go into the search bar and just type in capital P-O-T of and capital G-O-L-D, YouTube channel. You'll see like an eye that has a rainbow color in it. That is the YouTube channel for one of our big supporters, Rainbow Light Being. So he is assisting a lot with actually helping to fund the inbound. And so that amazing little short film that I've been talking about for the past few months is going to start going into production starting this summer. So we're going to start filming in production around the time of late July, early August, around that time. So I am really, really excited to finally bring this incredible short film. A lot of what the inbound involves is looking into spiritual awareness, looking into extraterrestrial awareness, and of course looking more into a story that really fits in the universe of the secret space program. So this is really what the inbound is going to represent. Has kind of a Star Wars, Star Trek, Avatar, The Matrix kind of feel to it as well too. It's going to be really, really exciting. We're putting together a crew right now. We got our crew together. We're putting together we're putting together our cast right now. That is pretty much almost done. And then we're going to be rolling out here for production coming in July, and late July, early August. So I am so excited to bring out the inbound, and we're going to have free online screenings for this as well too, where you guys will be able just to pop on here and actually being able to view the inbound via an online streaming. And the sky's the limit with this. If this really gets very successful with people loving this, then we can create more. We're basically looking to create an online TV series with the inbound. So again, Pot of Gold YouTube channel, and of course Rainbow Light Being has been an incredible supporter to the realitywhisperer.com website, and to, of course, the inbound. So I'm just giving him a great deal of love and support here with checking out his YouTube channel. There's a lot of true history, secret info, and hidden knowledge there, so feel free to check that out as well. All right, so we are going to go ahead and move into our topic this evening, which we are going to be talking about is the soul archetypes and the ground crew. Now, of course, we have a live chat happening here as well too. So in the latter half of the program, I'm going to be just checking out the chat with everybody there. And if you guys do have questions for myself and Adronis, then you guys can feel free just to put your question in the live chat. I'll just have a little notepad here, and I'll just copy and paste all of the questions that I'm getting, just so I don't lose track of them in case we're scrolling up too fast. So again, it's a very different feeling in opposed to Google Plus Hangouts. So I like it. It's great. All right, guys, we're going to go ahead and get started with, of course, looking firstly into soul archetypes. All right, so universal sojourns. Every soul emerges from another universe. So this is basically giving us an understanding that when we are soul, we come from, of course, the source. Again, a lot of people who follow the idea of spirituality, consciousness, metaphysics realize this, that, you know, our home truly is the source. And I get a lot of questions through private sessions or through group channelings as well, too. Where do I come from? Is there a planet of origin? Do I have like a home galaxy that I come from? Maybe I come from Sirius, maybe I come from the Pleiades, maybe I come from Lyra. You know, basically the way I've looked at it, and the way Adronis has really shown me as well too, is that every particular star that we've visited, every planet that we've encountered in that way, is basically us just passing by as a visitor, right? So you have a lot of different lifetimes, you know, things that we just can't even measure in that way. You have been many things, and the whole idea is that all of these represent experiential visitations. And so you've had experiential visitations in the Pleiades, in Andromeda, in Arcturus, in Lyra, in Sirius, etc. But that's not representing the idea of your home origin. You know, everything that you are is soul, is spirit, is mind. And so you originate from the source of that idea. And so when a soul becomes aware of itself, it starts to move through these particular funnels that we can often refer to as black holes, singularities, etc., portals. And basically, with that whole understanding, we're moving into a passage. We're moving into a sojourn. And so we are coming from our own particular universe and moving into a collectively created universe, which represents this universe that we occupy now. So that's what's so unique about this universe, is our universe is something that is collectively created. Each and every single one of us have our own personalized, created universe that we have manifested into being. Now, that can be something that's really difficult to understand because, well, you know, I'm in this body, I'm in this human form. How could I possibly have the wherewithal to create my own universe? Well, because you're more than this canvas. When we start to look into the imagination itself, the imagination is just a fraction relating to the capabilities that we have of understanding our own creativity, of understanding all of these particular types of worlds. You know, when we go into dream states, when we start to have psychedelic adventures, for example, we're again only just seeing an itty-bitty, teeny fraction relating to the capability of our imagination and to the capability of our minds. But really, we are from our own particular universe. We have created galaxies, we have created stars, we have created planets, we have created other realms and realities that we exist in. And so basically, we come together as the intelligence, as the infinite intelligence of everything that represents our own personal universe. And now we transit from one particular aspect of that energy into another. Now, does that mean, well, Brad, does that mean that we're kind of packing our bags in our own universe and we're just taking these bags and so that energy doesn't exist anymore? No, it's not about that. It's that the best way to put it is that we are projecting our own consciousness as the archetype of a soul that is coming from one transited universe, our own, to another transited universe, which represents this collective. Now, there are many collective universal games. This is just one out of countless particular collective universal games, universal dynamics that we exist in. Because we can look at other universes that may have cubes rather than spherical planets. We may look at universes that have, maybe just a huge, enormous amount of stars. Everywhere there's an atom. We're seeing bright atoms in that way, rather than just looking at something that may appear invisible. We have so many different ways, so many different archetypes about looking into different collective universes. But this is the particular collective universe that we have collectively agreed upon in experiencing with, again, countless others. So we are basically transiting ourselves from our own particular home dimension, our own particular universal dynamic, and transiting here into this collective universe. So again, we can refer to this as sojourns. When a soul enters from another universe and comes into this universe, they are going through a sojourn. And sojourns are the passages of souls traveling through singularities, magnetizing to games of incarnation. Well, what does that mean? That means that depending upon what you want to experience, you'll be able to work with your soul's own will to define the game of incarnation chosen. So you're basically aligning yourself to the idea of a planet, to the idea of another realm, another form of causality in that way, that best defines the particular theme or themes that you want to play with. Because as we understand that when we look into the heart of all creation, the heart of all creation is simply looking to experience itself. It has become aware, and it wants to become more aware of itself. And so us that represent spirit are these children, are children of the divine source, branching ourselves in through projection and moving into these creative sandboxes. And so we can look at the universe as a collectively dynamic sandbox. That's how amazing it is. So we are playing a game here. But because we have countless co-creators here in this universe, we're all working together in certain forms of understandings. So again, we kind of look into the creational laws, the creational understandings, which is one is all is one, now is forever, forever is now. And so we are all abiding through those forms. And again, as we're looking into a collective universe, as we're all sharing this particular space collectively, everything that reflects ourselves as a mirror intelligence is giving us what we are feeding back. And so it is the feedback loop. It is the boomerang effect. It is the law of attraction and repulsion. It is the law of magnetics. And so we are functioning together in this way. When we create something and then we want nothing to do with that creation anymore, well, that's karma. Because the whole idea is that we are still focusing on something that, oh yeah, this is exciting to me anymore. I don't want this anymore, but you're still creating it. So you haven't come to terms with it. So that energy still follows you because you're in a universal hall of mirrors. So we get these prime understandings relating to the rules, so to speak, or I should say the natural mechanics of the universe that we could refer to as laws or rules that are playing along with us. Because what we have done is we have projected our own consciousness into this universe. It is shared space. So basically what that means is that everything that represents our universe, our accumulation of everything that we are infinitely, intelligently, is now transiting itself in projection together with this universe. So it's like us just popping in to this space. But it's not us saying that we are absent in this area of the universe or we are absent on this other side of the universe. No, when we pop ourselves into the dynamic, we are everything. So there is not one subatomic particle that is not a part of us. There is not one atom that isn't. There is not any aspect that even we would consider to be nothing or everything that isn't a part of us. Everything is. And so we can look at it as layers that are transparent and overlap with each other. And that represents soul. That represents the collaboration of our minds, the collaboration of our spirits coming together and incubating ourselves and projecting ourselves into this universe. And so we experience sojourns. We start to magnetize. We start to align ourselves with what we feel the themes that we want to explore are. And of course, some planets, some other particular dimensions, different forms of domains will become available for the compatibility of those magnetic experiences. So that's how it works. That is basically our sojourns in a nutshell here. So again, it's all about looking into the soul's will to define the game of incarnation chosen. Well, what about Earth? How did many of us get onto Earth here anyways? Have we been here before? Many of us have been here before. So we all heard Earth's call. Earth's purity has been in conflict throughout hundreds of thousands of years due to free will violated intervention. All right? And this is basically just a part of our own, shall we say, karmic aspects, is that the 22 different genetic programs that are contained within each and every one of us are all part of relatives you could refer to as interstellar, celestial, star being relatives, because they have brought upon their own collective karma in regards to creating the human race. So as we have these 22 different genetic programs through 39 different versions of the archetypes of man and woman, then basically what we're doing is we're starting to play out a lot of different forms of karmic, quote-unquote, fiascos, because we are inheriting a hereditary nature of karma from 22 different species. And so they have had their own particular types of karmic woes. They have had their own particular types of conflicts, and a lot of them have been very warring species. And so because they have all come together and created this soup that represents man as a hybrid creation, now we're starting to come upon this planet and realize that we're attempting to work a lot of stuff out. Because again, this is something that is unheard of in the galaxy. That when you have an archetype like man with 22 different genetic programs contained within them, that's almost unheard of in the galaxy. Very common, maybe we have some races that have maybe 1 or 2 or 3 different genetic programs within their DNA, within their genome, and they start to work out certain things. But when you stack the pancakes up to 22 pancakes, right? That's a lot of pancakes, right? For us to ingest. And so these giant genetic pancakes have all been part of the karma that we have received on a hereditary level, because your creations will always carry the aspect of evolution and stagnancy pertaining to everything that you are. You're not just creating a portion of a polarity that comes into a state of creativity. When you are creating something, you are taking your allness of it. You're taking the entirety of that little drop out of your own ocean, and you're putting it in there. And a drop contains everything. It's a very small morsel, but it still contains everything that represents our essence. And so this is basically what has happened, is that we have 22 different extraterrestrial races, and we will be talking more about extraterrestrial races and interstellar alliances next week. But basically these ETs have come through and propagated man onto the planet Earth. And that all of us that are incubating into these souls have had some type of magnetic attraction to play out this theme of us going on this sojourn, coming to Earth, and saying, oh, this looks like a very interesting planet. There's a lot of things I would like to explore here. And because Earth is so rich in its contrast about what is available, we have souls from all over the universe from coming here. People that may just have, beings, I should say, that just have certain forms of acquired tastes will actually come to Earth and saying, it's kind of like the Walmart of the galaxy. Everything's here. Everything's inside here, right? So we want to go to Walmart. We want to go to Earth because there's so much enrichment of contrast here. There's so many different expressions. Because when you are soul and when you are sojourning, you don't care about polarity. You don't care about what's good or bad. You don't care about what's positive or negative. You're here for the experience. It's like when you're popping a quarter into an arcade machine and you're playing the game. You have to pick up a gun and you got to start shooting bad guys and stuff like that. That's all part of the game. It's just a part of a thrill, an experience, a game itself. And so this is the incarnation game of planet Earth. But again, throughout all of this particular time that man has been on a planet, we've been carrying a lot of different types of karma with us as a part of hereditary nature from the 22 different ET races that have made up their own genetic stock with our own. So that is precisely what we are going through in this way of answering the Earth's call and saying, hey, I need some help here. There's been a lot of free will violation coming together. And I'm not able to ascend myself into the next dimension, which again, the Earth has a deadline to do that. And we're moving into that deadline now. So intervention of beings posing themselves as gods has placed humanity into heavy levels of programming and separation. I think a lot of us know this quite well about a lot of beings coming upon this planet and posing themselves as gods, basically wearing the costumes of the ancient builder races and saying, we're your gods, we created humanity, so now you're going to be enslaved and you're going to work for us. And you are going to fulfill everything, because if you don't, the gods will be angry. And to ensure that we do this, we're going to create religion, right? So this is basically something that we have been dealing with for thousands and thousands of years, of looking into the idea of all of this free will violation of other beings coming here and being able to create their empires. But the very interesting thing about these particular beings is that you cannot just go to a planet and take it over. That's impossible. Here's the funny thing. In order for a conquering race, for example, to actually come here and attempt to enslave a planet, that planet wants to be enslaved. That's the kind of funny thing here. Because everything is vibration, everything is magnetics. And so as they have been dealing with a lot of the people that could be referred to as the oligarchs or the royal bloodline families, etc., and they basically attempted to feel that they wanted to be the voice for humanity. Yeah, sure, you go ahead and you screw around with the people here. I just want my moment in the sun. I just want my wealth. I want my fortune. I want all access to all these resources. I want access to all of this knowledge. Oh, and you'll give it to me? Great. Okay, sure. You can enslave my people, no problem, right? That is how it works. It's kind of screwed up in that way, but that is how it works. The people need to be dominated, because if a race comes to a planet and basically attempts to become a trickster entity and saying, yeah, we'll take good care of you, we're gonna give you all this wealth, we're gonna give you all these resources, all we're asking is that you let us do what we want on this planet. The caretakers of that particular planet say in a very colorful way, no, fuck off. They have to F off, right? That is basically how it works. That is how it operates. Because the whole idea is that we invite conflict into ourselves, or we can invite love into ourselves. It can also be an or and an and. We have conflict and we have love, and we invite that in because, as we stated, as I looked at into the previous part of starting this presentation, we are our own universes. And so we are basically projecting our own consciousness of everything that is contained inside that universe and transiting here. And so that is how powerful we are. One particular being cannot just automatically take over another being. That's not possible. We are all equal gods and goddesses. It can't be done. So you basically have to create the illusion that you are being taken over. And that comes through the state of disempowerment. That comes through the state of separation and manipulation. So we basically manipulate ourselves in that way and saying that, oh yeah, sure, you can come on this planet and you can do whatever you want with it. Just give me my fortune, give me my resources, give me my wealth, give me my knowledge, and I will have my time in the sun, right? That is precisely what has happened, right? Looking into all of this particular chaos. And again, because those particular people who have bitten from the forbidden fruit and can't get enough of it will attempt to create these programs, and these programs that will attempt to keep humanity dumbed down. But again, where we are right now in our modern times, all of this is about to change. So again, in an attempt to resolve thousands of years of karmic conflict, Earth has summoned for assistance. And all of us have heard the call. Every single one of us that's here. We would not be here if we didn't hear that call and say, sure, I'll come. I'll do this. I'm going to help the earth. I'm going to go into this experience because there's something here that will be able to show me a reflection of myself that will be very paramount to helping me understand myself as a soul. It may take many lifetimes for me to get that, but I don't care. I'm going to come here and I'm going to have this experience because I love a challenge. And that is what a masterful soul is. When a masterful soul looks at these particular planets and saying, yeah, this is great. Oh, there's chaos here? You bet your ass I'm going to come and incarnate there. This is going to be so exciting, right? Popping in that quarter of the arcade machine and let's play this game. Let's have a blast, right? Because when the game's over, when you retire from the physical body, you return back into spirit. That was fun. That was exciting. That was a great game. I was in a lot of despair in that life, but I had some peak times of light coming into my life. That felt really good. I'm going to come back, play again. This is great. Take another quarter out, pop it in. Back you go. Another particular type of incarnation, learning a lot more from where you left off. So again, certain forms of situations, issues, conflicts that you're still working with that you want to bring forward and say, okay, I'm going to resolve it this time. I'm going to take care of a lot of these issues. And I'm going to look into new adventures, new experiences coming together. That's us sojourning, ladies and gentlemen. That is us coming into incarnation and enjoying a sojourn. That is a planet, that is a mirror, that is a collective, that is a consciousness, that is a people, all reflecting back to us as mirrors. and saying, this is where I am, this is what I'm going to do, this is how I'm going to really enrich myself, enrich my spirit, by looking into all of these situations, whether they be positive or maybe they're negative. Doesn't matter. I'm here for the game. I'm here to experience myself. So really, when you look at it, when you look at the entire idea about what creation is, when we're looking into this universal archetype, this universal dynamic that has been created, it is spirit playing video games. That is it. It is spirit playing video games. It is them playing role-playing games. We're all just playing a big, gigantic game. Because many of us came from divine source and saying, this is all nice, this is great, it's heavenly, it's beautiful. I want to do something. I want to be aware of myself. I want to go into the depths of myself and explore this a lot further. I want to look at all these beautiful planets. I want to look at all these different civilizations. I want to pretend that we have no idea that other civilizations exist. That's thrilling to me, because as a spirit, of course I know all that. But I'm moving into a condensing of an incarnation. I'm going on a sojourn. And so I'm going to go to this planet, and we're going to play this imagination game that we won't have a clue, because now we're working with a conscious self rather than a super conscious aspect. And to me, that's exciting. I'm going to go do that. So see you later, source consciousness. I'm now projecting my energy, and I'm going to go into this collective universe and play these games. All right, have fun. Have a blast. Whatever you learn, send it back to us. Because again, everything is one. No problem. Hey, boof. You start trailing, you start transiting, you take that little cord with you, and creation follows you everywhere you go. It doesn't matter in regards to how we perceive it. It's the whole idea is that there is not one aspect of creation from what we understand as nothingness or everything that is not aware about what's taking place, because it is all us as the one experiencing the one as all, right? So that's going back into the science of the mechanics of oneness, to the idea of everything is now. Now is forever. All right, so that again is us playing with Earth's call, realizing we've come here and we're going to help the planet out. So souls from all across creation heard this call and responded. But what about the soul archetypes, the variety of souls? Well, souls from all walks of creation are here on this planet, as talked about. Souls of extraterrestrials, extra-dimensionals, cosmic essence, angelic consciousness, etheric consciousness, starlight consciousness, and more. Everything that we can't even imagine consciousness to be is here. And with a lot of the sessions that I've had with the Dronas, I've talked to some very interesting people who have had some really amazing experience. They can't even put it into words. It's kind of like you have this vision coming through while you're channeling, and you can get an idea about what it is. It's beauty, it's glorious, it's amazing. It's a wonderful vision that you get. It's just something you can't even really describe. You see all this light, you see all these colors, you feel that you are just everybody as one. And there are some magnificently amazing, wonderful people on this planet. And I'm sure a lot of them are watching this right now. So hello, wonderful, amazing people. Thank you for being here. But that is how amazing we all are, is that we all have something to offer. There really is no such thing as insignificance in this universe. There isn't. Because even the smallest grain of sand needs to be the smallest grain of sand. It can't be the earth without it. It can't be part of the universe without it. So the whole idea is that everything that we look at, from the tiniest subatomic particle to the Higgs boson, whatever you want to call it, to everything that we can understand macrocosmic, is all part of the one. All has significance. They all just have different themes that they're exploring. When we talk to a lot of these amazing beings that exist in different higher dimensions, operating on beautiful frequencies of energy, they see nothing insignificant. They see that everything has a purpose, everything has a meaning, everything has been imbued into the consciousness of this universe, and everything is needed in order for the infinite to be the infinite. So that is where we're attempting to move past this aspect of feeling that something is insignificant, that I need to make a gigantic, major impact on this planet, and I can't settle for anything less. If that's your goal, that's fine. But everything that you do, from getting up in the morning to making yourself a pot of tea or a cup of coffee, and going outside and saying hello to your neighbor, and driving your car, and walking around, and just saying hi to people, and just performing these simple acts of kindness, makes the biggest impact of them all, right? Every small thing is a big thing in itself. So that's looking into the idea of the alleviation of this feeling of insignificance. Everything truly is significant in its own divine way. So again, some have emerged as projections from other entities. Again, this is pretty interesting as well too, is that we have different souls that have come to this planet that are just projections. And basically these particular beings have karmic immunity. So we're looking at the idea of just pure projections of consciousness coming through. They have soul, they are soulful beings, but it is the idea that you're not separate from that. You're connected to this particular entity, for example, that may be in a spaceship in the Andromedan constellation. And they are in a state, could be stasis, for example, and they're actually projecting a part of their own consciousness to function as spirit, to incubate itself into soul, to actually come here and have that remote experience. Again, it's like looking at a source transmission, a satellite dish, and of course the receiver signal, right? So we're getting this remote satellite transmission coming through, and that's really the case with all of us, right? Is that we're all just remote devices of non-localized consciousness. And basically we're having this experience. When we retire from the physical body, we return back as a thought form. We return back as that projection of consciousness that triggered us from being this, poof, and we go back to the host, right? So it's looking at host and remote device. So us being a remote device here, us that the host itself has their own particular type of perception of consciousness that is flowing through this particular theme, because as an agreement, our aspect of memory primarily gets wiped when we come onto this planet. So we have no conscious recollection. When that host is on that spacecraft, maybe they're in a meditation form, maybe they're in stasis pods, whatever it may be, and they wake up, they retrieve all that memory because that was part of their conscious projection. So the projection itself that was brought forward, that was transited from that non-localized source of an entity, is still learning everything, is still getting the entire Earth experience, I should say, within their own data memory banks. And so when that retirement happens and they leave the planet, there is a type of karmic immunity around that, because that's part of the agreement that this entity has with the Earth. I will come in, I will feel like I remember nothing, but a lot of things are going to start coming back to me in this life. And when I leave, I'll be able to bring this projection of myself back into the host body of this extraterrestrial that's floating in a spaceship in the Andromeda constellation. And like a tether, boom, come right back. I now gain all of the cumulative knowledge relating to every form of memory that this projection of myself experienced. There you go. That's the idea of someone in stasis, right? And that's one of my cases as well, too, is that I have a Syrian body in stasis. I've talked to many others who said they have bodies in stasis, and they're basically just a projection of their own consciousness as this host body contained in stasis. So again, like being in a nap, is having a sleep, a long sleep. And they're basically projecting their consciousness in this body, and they're having this entire experience. So if it's a 95-year-old that finally passes away and moves into bodily retirement, then 95 years that dream lasted. And now it's coming back into the host, and now the host has all of that cumulative there's a tongue twister, cumulative knowledge relating to all of the memories that have been brought forward. So that is the key. And he'll also learn about dyslexia too, which I have partially as well too. So that's the whole key about looking into these amazing beings. And some are, again, just parts of essences that come through, nebulas, starlight, angelic consciousness, realms of light, just coming through here and projecting their consciousness into these bodies and having these incredible experiences. Okay, so that's giving us a little bit of an idea of the variety of these souls here. Again, some from parallel selves contained in stasis, some are walk-ins, of course, too. And so walk-ins, for people who are not aware about, well, what are walk-ins? What do walk-ins mean? Whoops, sorry, wrong slide there. What do walk-ins mean? Well, walk-ins basically represent beings that can come into a certain point of life within a body. So basically, one projection of consciousness is exiting the body because their theme is completed. They've reached everything that they wanted to complete, but there is another aspect of that projection that is coming together. So you could refer to it as a type of oversoul family, right? There's one member of the oversoul that is vacating the body and leaving because they've done everything they wanted to do, but they don't want to terminate the body. The body wants to remain intact. And so in that instantaneity, there comes another particular soul coming together, attempting to acquire cumulative, there we go, I did it, cumulative knowledge relating to everything that they experience on this planet. And so that is a walk-in, is basically that when that other ex-host soul leaves, there is cellular memory that exists within the conduit. And of course, this new host essence comes into the body as a projection and then incubates itself into the body. And they have residual memories pertaining to what that previous projection of consciousness experienced. So they may not have vivid memories about when they were 5 years old or 8 years old, anything like that. They're basically functioning through the residual memories. And so it's basically just having like a new clean slate, but you have all this residual memory contained within the mind, within the cells, and you are basically attempting to make sense of everything that's coming through. But you are a clean slate soul. And so you're basically relearning a lot of things all over again, plus still dealing with some of the physicalized karmic aspects relating to this body that it was left unchanged. And so that basically gives the idea that yes, when that projection leaves, they're still carrying a large essence of that karmic energy with them, but the body itself contains memory. So we basically have walk-ins that will come in, realize, oh, well, this is just karmic aspects or karmic residuals from the previous host that was in here. So if I can realize that, I am not going to empower those residual effects because I'm realizing that that was from the previous host that was here. So when there's that realization, then those walk-ins don't have to try and actually put that baggage of residual karmic energy upon themselves. If they realize it was from somebody else, they realize that was another aspect of their oversoul, they can let that go. They can release that. And of course, those toxicities will be able to be vacated. Right? So that's kind of giving the idea of a walk-in, is one that just pops in through a certain aspect of lifetime and is continuing to live on through their acquired themes of domains. Okay, so we're going to move on now to soul archetypes. So these are just some simple archetypes that I have kind of summarized. It's not about us just being one or two of them. A lot of us have many of these different types of soul archetypes. So we look at the idea of the soul archetype of the builder, one who really likes to work with their hands. They want to construct. They love the idea of the physicality pertaining to reality, the experience through doing. The other, which represents the healer, experience through rejuvenation, wanting to better themselves, wanting to improve their own mind, body, and spirit, and helping to allow that assistance of rejuvenation with others. We have the traveler, just one who wants to see the world, just one who wants to understand culture, who wants to understand the nature of humanity, where everybody came from, looking into our history, exploring all these different areas of our planet, constantly on a state of moving forward and attempting to get an understanding more about how everything connects with each other. The rebel, experiencing through defying boundaries. So again, one who does not want to conform to the system, one who wants to step outside of the box, one who wants to move past everything that they feel is status quo. They are moving into the boundlessness. They're always reaching towards the horizon. The nurturer, experience through encouragement, one who just wants to be so much of service to others, who just wants to see what another person is doing and encouraging that. So it's a little bit different from the healer, because the healer wants to work together on rejuvenation ends. The nurturer is basically just that light of encouragement. It's a type of healing, but it's really looking into the idea about how you are encouraging other people, how you're seeing the god and the goddess of themselves, being very motherly, being very much like a parent to other people that you see as your children. So again, just kind of like another type of healing in that way. The warrior, experience through courage. Okay, one who doesn't want to back down from a fight, one who will stand up for the little guy, one who will brave themselves and go deep within and become kind of like the spiritual warrior in that way. That's really what the spiritual warrior represents, is just looking into developing your own inner courage so that you're able to move through any particular challenge, and you have the heart, the capacity of strength to move past any particular type of obstacle. The evolver, experience through transitioning. So one in that sense that is not looking to take quantum leaps, that's not looking for the easy way out, one who knows that they're going to dedicate themselves very diligently to seeing themselves grow. They see themselves as that seed in the dirt, and now they start to see the roots come out. Now they're going to start seeing themselves stemming and blossoming into something amazing. So they're not feeling that they're in a rush. They have an incredible amount of patience. And we have the nomad, experience through detachment, person who just doesn't want to have anything to do with society at all, doesn't want to have anything to do with governments or modern society, just wants to be on their own, just wants to be completely independent, one who just wants to kind of be like a wanderer in that particular way, just wants to have their own space, wants to be left alone, doesn't want to carry the obligations of other people. So again, these all just represent different types of archetypes that we all carry. So we are not just a builder, we're not just a rebel, we're not just a warrior. We have a lot of these different types of archetypal aspects as it pertains to us. So that's just giving kind of an overview. There may even be some more, but that was the ones that were coming to me through intuition. So just really getting an idea about the richness of our souls. It's kind of like looking at all of the colors within the spectrum of the rainbow, the cumulative colors. So that's my word of the evening, cumulative. The cumulative colors of the rainbow. And so we are basically just getting an understanding about what every color vibration means within that spectrum. And that is looking into the idea of a soul archetype. Am I a wanderer? Am I a warrior? Am I a traveler? Am I an evolver? Am I a builder? Yes, you're all of those things. And it's kind of like a scale. You may feel that you're really good at building. You're really good as a builder. And that maybe your spiritual warrior isn't that strong, but you can always build that up. So we all have a cumulative aspect to all of these archetypes that represent our own soul. Of course, we have the soul's stagnancy. When one becomes the problem, they remain attached to a game of incarnation. So we're looking at fear, anger, aggression, hopelessness, depression, jealousy, judgment, apathy, greed. And so this is all part of the stagnancy. And so when we're looking at the aspect of soul archetypes, the soul archetypes can become contaminated through the idea of us becoming the problem, because we dive so much into the idea of the societal program. We dive so much inside the boxes. And it just feels like we're moving outside a box, but all of a sudden another box appears because we're not quite past that aspect of the problem. And so we have these fears, these angers, these greeds, these apathies, this judgment, etc. And that is basically what's preventing us from moving into our fullest potential. It is through these particular aspects and experiences and examples of problems that we create that cause us to keep coming back over and over and over again. Because there's something unique about when we retire from the physical body, we come back into spirit and we say, that was good, that was really fun, but there's still something left behind here, right? It's that we're nagging ourselves. We're saying that, no, there's still something here that's left unresolved, and I need to go back and I need to work together with that. And so this is how we have guides. This is how we have spiritual moderators in that particular way, that are saying that, well, you created a lot of this karma, you had a lot of greed and a lot of manipulation, you were manipulating a lot of people in that lifetime. And so you need to go back and you need to really take care of this. And sometimes we can stack it up. It's kind of like what Adronis was talking about in regards to karmic debris points in that particular way, if we're looking at a scale, right? If we have the idea that the earth is at a scale point karma level of 100, and we scaled up to 100, we have a lot to work off of in order to try and bring that scale down to 0. That is not to say that you're going to experience all of that in one lifetime. If you have a karmic score of 100, right, it's not to say you're going to get down to 0 in one lifetime. It's not going to work, right? You have a lot of baggage to carry. That's like saying that, you got about 100 bags of incredibly large luggage. I want this all put together put this away in 1 minute. You can't do that, right? So you realize it's going to take time to really empty out those bags, realize what's in there, and starting to replenish yourself and removing the idea of all this karmic aspect through you, because these were aspects that you have put yourself through. You're no longer seeing yourself as being worthless. You're no longer seeing yourself as being judgmental or greedy or apathetic. You've changed your perspective. So in order for you to really have an accumulation, there's that word again, of beingness, of balance, you need to take everything that represents the karma and everything that represents positive reinforcement and binding them together. So it is when you have the opposite reaction to the idea of the energetic of the karma itself that you are now being able to bring about a resolve. So however much energy of quote unquote negativity, of that polarity that you put upon yourself, the key here is being able to create an equal or even greater reaction, a countermeasure in that way, a counterbalance as it pertains to that energy, so that you can move back into that state of balance. So that is basically us developing the counterbalance. That's the whole purpose of positive energy. So positive energy is here to help us achieve a counterbalance, because we're not always going to be, waking up with a huge, gigantic smile on our face the first thing in the morning, or continuing to have that face, that smiling face, 24 hours a day, right? We're not looking into that. It's not about that. It's the idea about being able to bring balance, equilibrium into your lifetime. Again, as talked about in previous videos on my channel. Okay, so we're going to move on here. The evolving human being. Our modern era is a time of grand awakening, leading into a phase of collective change. The last 3 generations have been the pioneers to ushering in awakening and change to the earth. So really starting around the time of the post-atomic era. The children coming onto earth today could be seen as a new species of human, enhanced in intelligence, sensory perception, and extra sensory perception. So again, we have a lot of amazing children upon the planet nowadays, more amazing than they've ever been. And these kids are incredibly intelligent. Again, that's why there's always been such big stories about vaccinations and contaminations, and attempting to put all these toxins into them to try and dumb them down. Because if you're really free from all of that stuff, you will start to see some really amazing kids that are equal to the power of intelligence of Nikola Tesla, right? And being able to bring in these, IQ of 150, 200, who knows more. There's some really brilliant kids on the planet, and it's all about being able to do our own best to make sure that our children at a very young age are able to continue to grow and to prosper and advance themselves, so that they can come upon the earth and become the solutionists, really being able to help remodel our earth by us being the elders and saying that this is what we've tried to do, this is what we're doing. Okay, well, what about these new ideas that are coming through? And that's why, again, a lot of the quote-unquote millennials, in that sense, can often feel like they get bad reps, because, again, they operate in a very different frequency, and they can actually be a lot more prone and sensitive to depression more than previous generations. So it feels like these millennials are slacking off, and they're always on their phones, and they're talking about pop culture, and they're doing everything that we as an older generation couldn't imagine, because again, they're more sensitive. They pick up on things really quick. They're putting all their power towards these aspects of illusion and the idea of distortion, when rather than the idea that they can be nourished and nurtured, and you will start to see an incredible generation. I've seen a lot of people say, "Oh, Brad, I'm so tired of these millennials," and stuff like that. And I said, it's not about that. It's not about feeling that you're so tired of these millennials. It's the whole idea that this is a new species of human that has come about, and that if they're attempting to get an understanding relating to the belief systems of the systematic structure that we have on this planet, and they become seduced by that, they can fall much quicker than we can, because they're so prone to all of this sensitivity. They're able to pick up on things very fast, but they utilize that ability of engulfing themselves into these particular types of limitations, and they act in that particular way because they've put so much of that incredible energy into distortion. So we as the elders still need to pick things up and help them along in that way, because we've been through it as well too. It's not about saying that, this is the worst generation I've ever seen, and they suck. What is that going to solve? That solves nothing by you basically procrastinating. It's the idea of being able to take your wisdom, take your knowledge on a collective level, and helping these children. And that's the whole idea, is being able to really pick them up and say that they've put so much fast, incredible, quick focus on these energies that have contaminated themselves. So what can we do in that opposite effect as functioning as their elders? Because if we're not functioning as those elders, we can be just as bad a generation as they are, right? So it's looking into the idea of where the children themselves are looking for guidance. And if we basically are caught up in contamination, they'll go into contamination even faster. If we start moving ourselves into alignment and illumination, they will now start moving into alignment and illumination even faster. It is about the state of equal responsibility. It's not for one particular form of generation to look after their own ass in that sense, right? They need their elders. They need that help. If the elders are so caught up in the melodramas of life, then again, they're going to get caught up a lot quicker. That's their intellect. That's how strong they are, right? Amazing, sensitive young people that are here on this planet. I'm not trying to make myself sound like an old fart, but it's amazing just to see all these amazing young kids that I talk to as well too, and a lot of them are amazing. You know, we're looking at people that again are really into channeling, looking into mediumship. They're into spirituality, consciousness, metaphysics. They're into environmental transformation. It is wonderful. The invention, the intelligence they have is wonderful, and I think it's a really amazing generation. But the older generations need to pull their weight too. And it's not about procrastinating. It's about resolving and about creating illumination so that people can follow through the state of your example when they accept themselves and realize this is our next step. This is what we're meant to be. So my own perspective on that. Okay, next part is the ground crew. Tasked with entering into the heart of civilization, exposing areas of corruption and disempowerment, and purifying systems en masse. That is the purpose of the ground crew. And it's a very difficult job, as many of us understand, right? We're coming into a planet that, again, has thousands and thousands of years of contamination, of free will violation, and basically creating dozens and dozens and dozens of religions, and basically feeling that our way of society is to nourish the psychopath. Right? That's the whole idea and the nature of society as it is created right now, relating to modernization and what we see on the television, what we see in the newspapers, what we hear on the radio, is looking into all this modernization of saying that, you know, let's do this. That's going to help disempower people a lot more. Let's just throw all of these wrenches in the works, because what we want to do is secretly empower this person who will be a quote unquote leader. But deep down, they're nothing more than a complete and total psychopath. And that's the type of society that these particular types of rogues want to create. And that is what is plummeting right now, because there is a huge shift of balance of power here in that way, is that people are coming into the realization that the true illusion was through the idea of all these people that seek power, and that the true power is the idea of you coming to terms and harmonizing with the idea of illusion. That's the key here, and that's what many of us are realizing. And so this is tipping the scale. And so if we have the idea of this light aspect being the rogues, this is us right down here. Team light is prevailing, and it will continue to prevail as, again, we're moving through these intense 8 years of the span of change. So again, a lot to look forward to. So again, that's looking into the ground crew. Ground crew are supporters for each other, helping each other to gather strength, empowerment, and resolve. The ground crew's philosophy is substitution over sacrifice. And again, Jonas has talked about this with the substitution effect. Aligned to what serves you, not what you must submit to through an illusion of no choice. And again, that is what the feeling of the modern society is trying to say, is that, you know, you need to follow through with us. You need to play game. You need to play ball with us. This is our creation. You must obey, you must obey, you must obey. And so when we're really looking into the idea of these particular rogues despising free will, that is a primal draconian concept, right? So we're looking into the idea of the beings like the Draco, the primal, original, anti-free will beings. That is their philosophy incarnate. And that is basically what many of these rogues have been indoctrinated with, is the feeling that they need to go through these dualistic draconian aspects and feeling that that is what they can do to keep their power together. And they greatly underestimate the power of the people, as we're starting to see right now. And that through the years ahead, there's going to be an uprising. There's going to be an uprising to where the people power are going to become the full aspect of the scale. They are now at the heaviest weight, and hardly any weight is on the opposite end. That is our future. That is where we're moving into. So again, a lot to look forward to as we're functioning as the ground crew, as we're here on Earth, and we're attempting to renew our society. So again, substitution over sacrifice. Okay, so there's just another little article that I'm going to pull up here as well too, and this is basically talking about our evolution in that way, in the works in that way. And this comes into 3 strands of DNA. So this is kind of an older article, a couple of years old, about a British child born with extra strand of DNA. And again, this was something that really got a lot of attention. I can think it was back around 2011, and really getting a lot of people excited about this. And my own feeling is that there's a lot more children nowadays that are of the triple strand helix of DNA. Well, why is this important? Why do we care if there's 3 strands of DNA? And again, that article will be available in the video description in the archive recording. But why is this important? Why are we looking at 3 strands of DNA? Well, again, this is helping us to understand that there are going to be a lot more potential abilities. It is not so much in the idea, because in that article they're saying that the child has gone through some major difficulties. Well, again, it goes back to sensitivities. It's the idea about what they are being exposed to at a very young age. And again, when you start to have this triple strand helix of DNA, you are amazingly sensitive. And there's certain things you can't even eat. There's certain things you can't even drink. There's certain forms of mentality, of emotions you can't even be around. That's basically it. That's the premise of moving more into a 4th density society, is that it will be very much more common in these upcoming generations for children to actually have 3 strands of DNA. But again, I don't feel that that's something that's being reported as much as it should, is looking into this one article, when I just feel intuitively that there are quite a lot of children, just brand new children, coming upon this planet with indeed 3 strands of DNA, but they are uber sensitive in that way, or hypersensitive in that way, whatever you want to call it. But basically there's a lot of contamination on our planet, and a lot of these children can't handle that, especially when they're moving into a triple strand helix. So again, when we're looking into a triple strand helix, what is it that we can relate to pertaining to what is a triple strand helix? What would a being look like if they were a triple strand helix, if they had the triple strand helix connection? Well, there was something that happened that was really quite amazing back in August of 2001. And some people may remember this. This is a crop circle that was within Hampshire, United Kingdom. And basically this was a response to the 1974 Arecibo message that was sent out through SETI. And there was a response back in 2001. But really what I want to focus on here is the reply here on the left, where we're actually starting to see 3 strands of DNA from this extraterrestrial source. All right, so this is kind of giving us an idea. Wow, this advanced race has 3 strands of DNA. Very interesting. They have kind of a large head here and a small body. So that's kind of giving the idea here, and we're probably seeing an imprint of a type of face that kind of looks human-like. But as we go into a year later, when we go into 2002, almost a year to the day, we have another crop circle here that is written in an ASCII code, so kind of like a disk in that way in 2002. And basically what this said was, "Beware the bearers of false gifts and their broken promises. Much pain, but still time. Believe. There is good out there. We oppose deception. Conduit closing." So I remember when I was first checking this out on the internet, I was like, wow, that is amazing. That looks like the Yahyel to me. That looks like hybrid beings, right? So we're looking into something that is a triple strand helix, an advanced culture that is coming together and lives very, very differently from the idea of humanity. So would it not make sense that if new children are coming upon this planet, and our food is becoming constantly contaminated, our emotions can be just as dirty as the food and the pollution on our planet, that they can have difficulties, that they can start having these particular forms of hereditary impairments, from the idea of blindness or the idea of problems with indigestion or whatever it may be. This is all part of the cause, because the triple strand helix beings that are coming upon this planet and may start to come together more en masse in the upcoming generations require a planet that is more in a state of purity. And that's moving into our responsibility as a ground crew, to making sure that our air is safe to breathe, that our food is all right to eat, that our water is clean, that we're able to clean up a lot of these pollutions, that we're moving past these inside the box systems and transcending them, and moving past the idea of a broader horizon, a new tomorrow in that way, by creating it now. So this is the whole idea about looking into a triple strand helix, about looking into these brand new children that are coming through and operating in this type of triple strand helix system. And the idea of their capabilities, we can only hypothesize, because when you're looking at the idea of a triple strand helix, you're looking at so many capabilities. You're looking at so much increased of memory. You could have people that are just naturally have photographic memory, naturally are empathic, are able to talk to plants, are able to talk to people telepathically, talk to animals, people that are able to go into these very deep states of meditation. Some people that are just able to go into natural states without having to go into deep states and just project their consciousness throughout the planet. So there's a lot of perceptual ability enhancements and extrasensory perceptual ability enhancements that are actually coming through these new beings that will be gracing our world in the upcoming generations that have this triple strand helix of DNA. So again, that's giving the idea of the future of our ground crew. So we are here to clean up the planet. We are the caretakers. We are the house cleaners. We're coming inside this gigantic mansion when a lot of people have trashed the absolute crap out of it. And we're still picking up our brooms, we're picking up our dustpans, we're picking up our mop and buckets, we're picking up our vacuums, and we're going to clean this enormous, gigantic mansion. I don't care how many people have trashed it. We're going to go through every room, and we're going to clean it all up. And that's basically where we're going right now. But in order for us to truly make an effect of cleaning up this mansion, we need to find the culprits that are constantly trashing it. And we need to bring awareness to them. Because if it's only one or two people that are being aware of these particular culprits, there's only so much that can be done, because they can still hide behind those veils of secrecy. It is when the en masse collective notices them and sees that the majority of the people, whether it be by region, by country, by nation, by international aspect, by world, by global aspect, are noticing that these particular people are trashing the place secretly. Now they're exposed. There's nowhere they can hide. They're basically saying, get out. Poof, we kick you out of the mansion, right? And so now, once we have those parasitical aspects of culprits that are out of the mansion, now we can clean it up. And that's precisely what's happening right now on the planet, is we're discovering a lot of these culprits, and we need everybody. We need as many people as we can to become aware of this. And I'm just one channel that's coming through this. You know, there's hundreds of thousands, millions of people that are, again, sharing their own perspective and helping to be these caretakers, coming inside this mansion and helping to clean her up. And really being able to see us move into a new era, moving into this aspect. And again, as Adronis has stated, 2016 to 2024 is the whole point of uprooting this span of change, ripping the roots out of the ground and saying that no matter what they try to do, they will be exposed. It's unavoidable. So the next 8 years are the most incredible aspects of transformation I think we will see in thousands of years of time. So there's a lot to look forward to in these upcoming times of transformation. All right, so thank you very much, everybody, for tuning in tonight. And so we are going to go ahead and move on to the questions. So if you guys have, go ahead, for example, just posted some questions earlier, I would just ask if you can repost them again, just so I can look into them and see what we got here. Okay, so I'm just going to go on to the chat room here. Let me just see what I can get while I'm scrolling up here. Just on the pro for some questions here. So if you guys do have any questions for myself or for Adronis, you can feel free to ask. Okay. So again, for anybody who has posted questions earlier, please just feel free to post it again, just as I scroll up here. Okay. So yes, we're having some really incredible people like, Dr. Stephen Greer. Again, I've watched the video of Sirius, and I think it's absolutely amazing. Again, just representing other particular type of people that have a lot of great information that they're sharing and being able to make a difference on the planet. So very good. So I'm going to scroll down to the bottom of the chat here. I just want to make sure that, okay, we got one question here. Okay, so we have one question here from Rolo. Rolo asks, my question is, I have been seeing a few bright lights before I sleep. Can you tell me which race is trying to communicate with me? Are they the same race who has triangular craft? Thank you, Brad and Jonas. Okay. Well, Rolo, Spec, I will see if I can bring Adronis in, and he can share some information with that. So let me just tune into your energies. I'll bring Adronis in. Just take a few moments. I might do a little bit of light chanting here, and we can see if we can address your question, Rolo. Thank you again. Okay, I'll just be one moment. Terra Soul Star Sirius Adronis we are here at this time, and we bid you greetings, and thank you very much for the opportunity of this interaction today. I am Adronis of Sirius, sending love, appreciation, and gratitude to all who are tuning in to this particular broadcast being brought forward through your internet collective consciousness. What we would like all of you to do at this time is simply allow yourselves to get relaxed, get comfortable, and tune in to the vibrations of Sirius, so that you may synchronize, harmonize, and align to all of the information that we have to share. Also understand, again, that the information that we shall provide today is simply that of our perspective, our point of view. For all knowledge, all information, all creation itself resides within your very hearts, beings, and souls. We thank you very much to the entity known as Rolo Spec, relating to the idea of the energies of orbs that you had viewed. Many of these particular forms of orbs that you understand are projected consciousness. Now, they are not always ships, as you understand. They are not physical nuts and bolts craft in that way of understanding. These particular projections, in that sense, can represent beings that are existing in other particular dimensions that are parallel to your own reality. And so they can represent the idea of conveyances. They can represent the idea of what you would know as living vessels. And so these particular types of beings that have connected together with you in a state of triangular formation do exist within, shall we say, different realms of consciousness within the star that you would know as Arcturus. And so these would be what you would know as a type of Arcturian energy that is working together with you, functioning together in this form of living light, alive conveyances, or craft, as you wish to call them. But that is what we can sense in regards to the energetic resonance that you are presenting right now through the harmonic equations of energy being brought forward through your own energetic at this time, which we are able to therefore sense and provide this information back to you. So again, we would suggest for you to look more deeply into the star of Arcturus, into those particular types of energies, as you see what is known as a 12-pointed star violet gateway that can represent the resonance as it pertains to Arcturus, as Arcturus holds a very strong importance pertaining to souls upon this planet and within this galaxy, as this is, in that sense, a highly dense, soul-transiting star portal. We thank you very much for your sharing. All right, thank you very much, Rolos Beck. I hope that information was good for you. I will go ahead and move on, and just going to go back to Rolo's question here and just see if there are some other questions. Okay, we have one here from Cheyenne, and Cheyenne asks, what is the purpose of suspended animation? Okay, so what is the purpose of suspended animation? Let me go ahead and bring Adronis in and see what he shares with that. We thank you once again, Cheyenne, for your question. In regards to your question, what is the purpose of suspended animation? It is the idea of what you would know as a sleep state. It is the idea to where the technology, in that particular way of understanding, that is incubating the particular host body in that way, is preserved to the aspects of time. So you can understand this within your own science fiction films, your own science fiction television shows, that some particular shows will talk about suspended animation or stasis, and that they basically represent that this prevents the idea of any particular type of aging process. You are stilled past the idea of space and time. So you no longer become what you would understand as a mass that is operative in a type of equation that, shall we say, works together in that form of space and time coalition to create any particular type of harm to the body. So the body is being kept in this particular type of suspended animation, this stasis, so that it is preserved for its state of experience. Because if anything were to happen with that particular body, the idea of the conduit, the remote conduit on your planet that has that projection of consciousness hosted would therefore desist, because the host body must be brought intact. It is very similar to the movie that you have recently discovered on your planet that is known as Avatar. And that is the idea of, in that sense, being in one of these particular pod units, you are able to transfer your consciousness into another being. That is primarily what is happening here. But it is more so in the idea that you are in a stasis or suspended animation. You are no longer in the aspect of mass as it functions together as a variable relating to your own space and time nexus, coalition. So this is helping you to give the idea that the absence of your presence contained within a state of stillness is the preserver to allow the projection of consciousness contained upon your planet here, operating as this remote conduit, to function appropriately in regards to state of experience, to where when that particular life becomes concluded, the energies itself return back into the host body, as this conduit has previously stated. So we thank you, Cheyenne, for your question. All right, great. Thank you, Cheyenne, for your question. Okay, we have, I believe, another question here from David Waller. David asks, in regards to the coming changes beginning in the summer and the fall, can Adronis let us know what will be the first sign when we will know that it has begun? Okay, very good question for looking at that on a collective level. Okay, one moment, David. Thank you. We thank you once again, David, for your question as well. In regards to your question, as it pertains to, is there a sign that is coming forward that will confirm on a collective level the idea of what you would know as moving into this fourth density Earth? It starts with what you would know as the attention of your own United States election. That is what will give you the clue. Now, we cannot really give you the idea of the exact event, but you will notice that there will be an upliftment happening as you move forward into the fall that could, in that sense, affect the world's relief. There will be a particular event that will be occurring around this time of your own fall election that will bring about some type of uplifting feeling. Now, again, we do not want to spoil it for you, and we do not want to violate free will, but there is an uplifting event that will be felt collectively. There again will be many different attempts to, shall we say, attempt to sabotage a lot of this particular aspect of what you would know as an uplifting event, which is basically attempting to be done. But the whole idea is that we feel in a very high probability, as it exists right now, that this uplifting event will be something that you feel, and it is revolving in orbit as it relates to your United States fall election. So that is basically what we can say as somewhat of a hint. Now again, what is most important is how you are subjectively experiencing the upliftment of this energy, because many of you will be feeling it very fast. Some of you are already feeling it. Some of you may be feeling it again as you move deeper into your spring and summertime of 2016. So again, it's all based upon you. That is the most important aspect. Again, there is a great deal of misunderstanding that certain entities here upon planet Earth are attempting to get out of our previous message. It is not the idea of feeling that you are feeling, shall we say, that this entire planetary population on a majority scale is just going to vanish. It is very important to realize that you are not feeling a need, a desire to become a Mahatma Gandhi, to become an Edgar Cayce, to become some type of ascended master in order for you to move in the fourth density. That is not what is being said at all. What is being said here is that many of you that again realize that yes, there's still certain baggages that you're working with emotionally, and that is all right. It is very much of your common man, woman, and child that will progress into fourth density. This is not something in regards to, shall we say, making yourself an intensely super spiritual being that has completely removed all aspects of emotion. That is not what we are saying here. Is the more that you are in alignment to do that which you feel is of service to the population, this is only really what is required. It is the idea that you are living, that you are not in that sense in the turmoil, in the pit of despair here. Not to feel that you are at a point to saying, well, I have still a little bit more of this energy here relating to emotions. Is that going to prevent me from moving on into fourth density? It's basically asking yourself this question. Do you manipulate people? Do you attempt to control people excessively? Are you unbelievably greedy? Are you all about the idea of you and nobody else entirely? If there are yeses to any particular type of those questions, this is where you may have challenges in regards to moving yourself up into a fourth density nexus. But the whole idea is that through many of you, many of the common man, woman, and child upon this planet are very much in those alignments to move into fourth density. We are not talking about a 10 to 15% change of a shift into many of you going into fourth density consciousness. We are more so referring about 75 to 80% of you actually moving into a fourth density earth. That is basically the idea here. So you're really looking at the 20 to 25%. It may even be less than that, all depending upon yourselves throughout this time. But it is a very small amount in that way as it relates to beings that are working together in their aspect of extremes. Because, as we stated, 70 to 75% of you are quite peaceful. Is that true, Adronis? We've always been taught that this is, in that sense, a very chaotic world. It's not. There has been, again, a lot of different systems that you have worked together on your world that represent limitations and conditions. But again, as you know, that is being applied from what you have termed as the less than 1%. And when you truly look at your world without spectacles, without prisms, through the idea of media, and through the idea of other particular forms of energies that are trying to direct your focus, you see a peaceful planet. Step outside your door right now and look at your neighborhood and just stay within that moment. Do you see all kinds of chaos flowing around you? Many of you may say, no, I don't. There's people playing outside, there's people having conversations, there's cars going by, there's maybe a plane flying by, maybe I'm in a peaceful suburb, maybe I'm in a busy city. But nonetheless, I look outside and there is no disaster. And we can say the majority of you sense that on a daily basis. How exactly is that a chaotic world? It's not. This is what we are saying, is that when you buy into the media melodrama, is when you buy into the propaganda, you are putting on bifocal lenses. You are putting on specs. You are engaging your attention into a state of a prism and saying that, oh my goodness, this is what the world is about because I've seen all these posts on Facebook. I've seen all of these posts on Google. My goodness, this world is very violent. No, it's not. You are looking at approximately 4 to 5% that represents that particular aspect of turmoil. Because, again, so many people focus their energy on the minuscule relating to that small percentage, and they empower it. And that is how your media brilliantly knows how to manipulate the idea of perception. There's this 4 to 5% ratio, and this must be the planet Earth on a 95% ratio. No. It is only requiring 95% of your intention for focus to actually allow yourself to sense that this must be the world. And so now you create that world based on that melodrama. That is how it works. So when you start putting 100% of your energies in regards to where you are right now by being present without feeling that there is a buffer or a prism or a spectacle or bifocal lenses that are attempting to tell you to look at this, then you're going to see peace. You will experience peace by being present, not to feel that you are judging the world by looking through a prism, by looking through glasses. This is the important thing to remember. So in conclusion, we would say that, again, an uplifting event on a high momentum scale is indeed looking to come through, and that many of you can make many of these uplifting events happen when you start bringing 100% of your focus into what serves rather than what doesn't. Substitution over sacrifice. We thank you. All right, great. Jonas's energy is red hot tonight, so can't blame myself if I stumble there. All right, we're going to go ahead and just kind of scroll up here and just see if there's any other questions here for us, for Jonas and myself. Okay, just go back up to that. So I'm just going to take about 2 or 3 more questions here tonight, guys, and then we're going to call it wraps. Sharanjit asks, I have also been seeing a lot of white spark lights and of light bluish lights at times. What are these? Well, some of them can sometimes represent almost like feelings of glitter or sparkles in that particular way. This can mean many different things. This can actually be you tuning into your own aura. This can be you basically going through shifts as well too, and you can actually translate those forms of shifts through the idea of visualizations that come through. Sometimes I get that. I'll just be sitting on the couch or I'll be at the computer. All of a sudden I'll just be raining down. I'll just see all these sparkles. Sometimes white, sometimes silver, sometimes gold. And I can be in kind of a dark room as well too. It's not the idea of a reflecting of sunlight. It's the idea that I'm actually just feeling this blessing. And it's just it's a type of clairvoyance that you are feeling in the physical. And you know you're being blessed. You know that your fields are moving. You feel that there's new energies coming in, incubating themselves together with you. So it's a lot more different than what we would say is we're just looking at the sunlight and we're just seeing the effects of what our eyes see pertaining to all the light that's coming together as we're looking up at the sky or as we're looking at the water. But if we're sitting in a pretty dark room and seeing this coming together, this is showing a very large shift in energies. This can also represent guides that work together with you as well too, sharing particular types of presences. Sometimes people seeing flashes of light. Some people just feeling a presence in the room as well too. These can again all represent those forms as well. So there's many different ways of what it represents. Okay, so we're going to take 2 more questions here. Jun asks here, will there be a global economic shift happening this year? That is in the works right now. I have done a channeling with Adronis about this. He says that there are certain shifts that are taking place that are attempting to stabilize a lot of the market. There's also an attempt to replace certain forms of monetary systems, especially within the United States. I can't say if that's going to definitely happen this year. From what Adronis has talked about, he says that there will be some peak aspects of these economic changes happening in 2016. 2017 is going to show a lot more of a shift in the accomplishment of everything that's happening this year. So there is an economic shift in progress, would be the best thing I could say. It's hard to say if this will really start to transform this year or the year after, but something definitely is in the works. Okay. So I'm going to go down to one more question here. This one is from James Morrow. James asks, can you speak to the primary differences in the human experience of 3rd density versus 4th density? Great question, James. Very good question. I'm going to go ahead and bring Adronis in for that, and this will be our final question for the interaction today. So it'll be one moment here. We thank you once again, James, for your question. As it relates to, shall we say, the aspects of moving into a 3rd density reality and then moving into a 4th density reality. So if we were to simplify this particular idea, is that the 3rd density is all about attempting to harmonize with the ego, to harmonize with the self, to reach a state where you are trusting yourself, to reach a state of well-being, a state of security, where again, you're living more in the aspect of complement. You are moving into substitution rather than the idea of sacrificing. So it is the idea that there is conflict in regards to separation. So separation and individuality in that way of feeling that you're all separate, that you're all divided in that particular way, is part of the general consensus of the challenge when you're looking at 3rd density. It is a very physicalized density, as many of you know. It represents the idea that you are very much operating in a state of limitation, that many of you do not realize that you are highly empathic. Many of you do not realize that you are connecting with spirit. Many of you do not realize that there is a aspect of harmony that is attempting to bring you into higher elevations of consciousness. It is still feeling very solid, very physical. That would represent the idea of a premise pertaining to a third density concept, a third density nexus. When you are moving into a fourth density nexus, you are more into the state of responsibility. It is more so in the idea of working on behalf of a unification, working on behalf of a collective, that you are naturally in a state of love. And what represents the idea of the opposite of that love is fear, is the idea of stagnation. So when you are taking responsibility, some may feel that they are questioning themselves relating to the responsibilities they choose. The idea of, in that sense, that what you would refer to as a type of physicalized illness in fourth density is the idea of emotional stagnation. Emotions still exist in fourth density, just not as what you would know as deep or dense pertaining to third density. So again, there will be challenges relating to how you can best govern your energies. There are challenges relating to what you feel is the appealing role of responsibility and love. That is primarily the aspect. So you're looking at the idea of the 7 initial densities here. There are 12 in all. But we are focusing more so on the 7 initial densities that can be correlated together with your chakra centers. So again, the first density representing that of the root chakra. That represents the idea of the basis of the elements, the root practices, bringing the idea of stability into the idea of a global mainframe, the idea of a planetary game. The second density representing that of relationships, of unification, of coming together and harmonizing, balance, one together with the idea of entity and nature functioning in harmony together with the idea of relationships, of the idea of spirit, of the idea of being an entity and connecting harmoniously with your environment in a state of symbiosis. Moving into the third density, as we just stated, attempting to harmonize with the ego, attempting to bring well-beingness to yourself, trusting yourself, moving more into that essence of love and self-responsibility. Then you move into the fourth density, which represents, again, unified consciousness, connecting together and seeing what you can all do together as part of the whole. Not so much in the idea of the importance of personalized ambitions, but more so in the idea of how you are being service as a gear upon many other gears and being able to turn appropriately. So it is a dimension, a density, as it pertains to love, responsibility, advancement, moving yourself into the service of the all. That is primarily the aspect. And again, when you are moving into the fourth density, yes, things are indeed much lighter, but there still is a physicality. But it would be very much similar to the idea of bringing your physical world and bringing your dream world together and amalgamating themselves. You have a lot more capability in that particular type of frame set, but you must firstly understand your environment. You must firstly understand the nature of the mirrors. There is indeed an acceleration effect pertaining to manifestation with those that feel more lighter, because as we stated, third density has many different octaves pertaining to its cycled medium. The same thing with fourth density. There are many different cycled degrees of octaves in that form of medium. So you will all start to move in your own governed octaves that you feel collate together with other entities. And that these entities will work together as well too. And it is all about betterment, improvement, responsibility, and love. We thank you very much for your question. We thank all of you for the questions that you have provided. I am Adronis of Sirius. Thank you again. Farewell for this timing. And we now return to the conduit. We'll speak to you again, as now is forever, and all is one. Goodbye. All right, great. Thank you so much, everybody, for some really wonderful questions tonight. Sorry we weren't able to get to all of them, but we do only have so much time available on the broadcast tonight. But feel free to join us next week, as again, the topic that is going to be of discussion is extraterrestrials and interstellar alliances. So again, that's going to be something really, really exciting. And feel free, again, to tune in to our affiliates, portaltoascension.org. And of course, feel free to check out Pot of Gold YouTube channel, True History, Secret Info, and Hidden Knowledge. Our supporters, our affiliates. Thank you so much. Of course, I am Brad Johnson, realitywhisperer.com. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining me this evening, and I'm wishing you all the best, and looking forward to what the rest of 2016 has to bring us. A lot of exciting times are on the horizon. Take care, guys. Talk to you soon. Namaste, and may it be well with you. Goodbye.